Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel, and today we're going to take a look at Kdenlive and see if it's something that a professional could use day to day. Hi, my name's Jeremy. This channel is about tech. Go figure. And today we're going to be looking at Kdenlive. My day job, what I normally do to provide for the family, to put food on the table, is post-production. And there for a long time was the live production as well, editing videos, audio engineering, those kinds of things. And I'm on Linux. And so there's a lot that can be gleaned from that information if you're looking for something to work with. Some things, work great or just as good, and some things don't. And today specifically, we're going to be looking at Kdenlive, and we're going to look at it from the perspective of what I do on a daily basis and see how things line up and match up. It might give you a good sense of how good Kdenlive is and if it would meet your needs for your day-to-day use. And so there's a couple of things that I need to be able to do day to day. I also need to share with what software I currently use. And since I'm on Linux, there's a good chance that you already know what I'm using. Since I say it in almost every video, it's Davinci Resolve. I use the Studio edition, which is the paid version. It is proprietary software, and it is a industry standard for color grading. It is used all over the place for video editing, and it also has an audio suite that you can use to clean up audio and get things ready to go, and it is awesome. Oh, and it's got Fusion, which is like a better version of After Effects, which is what Adobe uses for rendering effects and compositing and things like that. It's a node-based solution, and it really is very powerful and amazing. All of that coming into a package that you pay one time for, that is a powerful solution. And being on Linux, it really was the only option for me. But before, when I was in a production studio, I used Davinci Resolve for years. This is on my 5th year in a row of using Davinci Resolve solely. And before that, I used Final Cut Pro. And there in the middle of my Final Cut Pro run, which was a long time, there was about a year and a half of Adobe Premiere Pro trying to work with within the office, and it crashed way too many times for me and gave me fits, and I just moved back to Final Cut, and that's what I used for a long time. We moved to Davinci Resolve, and it has been a wonderful ride. There's a couple of things that are a little nagging with Davinci Resolve on Linux, and I wanted to walk through and look at some other options. Kdenlive is cross-platform, just like Davinci Resolve is cross-platform. So whether or not you're using Linux or Mac or Windows, you can use Kdenlive. You can also use Davinci Resolve. So I think this is a good comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move into Kdenlive, set up a project, and use it. Try to use it like I would with Davinci Resolve. Now, obviously, I know there's going to be some differences here. I'm not going to pretend that functionality is going to be exactly the same. But the workflow is a logical workflow for today's modern video editor. And so this will be good for you to do. Now, just to be clear about this channel and how I do this channel, this is a very raw channel as far as production goes. I put very little into the video production. I've got my phone sitting up here, plugged into OBS, and that's how I'm recording and capturing this audio and video. Include, the audio's from my phone as well. So it is a very simple thing. I need cuts, and I need maybe some B-roll and some basic text and effects. That's it. That is way different than my day-to-day job, where I need a lot more as far as color grading goes, as far as effects goes, and text and movement and cuts, and there's just a lot more involved on a different kind of project. I do everything from social media posts to videos for clients, ranging from large to small. So I have a wide understanding of what can be used. And I think working through and seeing if Kdenlive might be something you might want to use, my opinion, I hope at least my experience can help you. I'm going to go through and talk about what I need to be able to do when I edit And then we're going to try to recreate that in Kdenlive. And then I'll describe the process in Davinci Resolve so you can get a sense and kind of go, okay, this is what I get if I have Davinci Resolve Studio. This is what I get when I choose to use Kdenlive. And between the two, I really don't ever need what he was talking about in Davinci Resolve, so I can just use Kdenlive. And I'm hoping to kind of give that set for you, make you feel good about a choice that you need to make, whether you need to spend the money or not. Let's go ahead and take a look at my process. In today's world, when you're video editing for a project, you handle a lot more than you used to in a production environment. You normally handle color grading, you normally handle audio, and you handle effects and the cutting and making the story fit together. You might even be the person who's recording and going to the shoot and capturing as well. And so there's a lot more that goes on to when you used to just be able to be specialized to just solely edit, right? And so you need to be able to do things. So when I'm pulling in a project, I will typically do a basic cut, okay? But each file that comes in, I've got to be able to color grade it. I've got to be able to clean up the audio. I've got to be able to edit. I've got to be able to add effects and text and transitions. And then I need to be able to render a file that is usable for the client. All right. So those are the things that you have to be able to do in kind of the process when you're the one-man shop for these clients. I'm going to use one of my videos that I've recently done and at just the raw footage that I've got in here and kind of show you what it's going to be like to try to do those things in Kdenlive. And then we'll kind of compare that with Davinci Resolve and see if this is something that might work for you. So let me switch over to my desktop and we'll take a look. So you've downloaded Kdenlive. It's cross-platform, Windows, Mac, Linux. You got it. And this is what you start with. You can add over here your folders, which you want to be able to add to your project, which is nice. Starting off, you have these layouts ready to go. You have logging, editing, audio, effects, and color, which is along the same lines as Davinci Resolve Studio. So right there, I already have some similar comparisons to Davinci Resolve, which I like and I'm happy about. So now I'm going to pull this file into the project. All right, it's going to bring it in, which is nice. So this is something, being able to just immediately pull this in is something that is an advantage over Davinci Resolve Studio in the Linux version. And here's why. The Davinci Resolve Studio Linux version doesn't have the ability to decode AAC, which is an audio codec. And it's something to do with Apple and Davinci Resolve, or Blackmagic Design, who develops Davinci Resolve. You know, it's not a big deal. I have to go through and feed the file through with this script and use FFmpeg, encode the AAC file into PCM for it to be read. And it doesn't take long. If it's a big, massive file, it may take a minute or two. Most of the time it takes, 5 to 30 seconds. And I move on with my day. It's not the worst thing in the world. That is definitely a little win for Kdenlive that I don't have to deal with that because everything for decoding, transcoding, and encoding is done with FFmpeg in Kdenlive, and that's really nice. And we're going to go ahead and move into the editing pane. So far, we are right where we need to be with Davinci Resolve Studio, and Kdenlive has given me more than you think to make my life easy. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this into the timeline here. And now it's pulled in the timeline. If I right click here, I bet I can create a proxy clip, but I'm not going to do that yet. What I also can do is I can lower the resolution here, and this might help it scrub a little easier. Hi. That's a little option that you can have, but we're going to create a proxy after we go ahead and color grade. Right now I have a timeline. I can add in extra videos, pull that in. This is the project bin. If I want to add another video, I can add it in right here. I'm not going to use this obviously, but it's here. And it'll pull it in, and now I will have both of those available for me as you can see over here on the top left. And then if I were to pull that in to the timeline, you can see that here, but I'm not going to use that for now. This is the color tab, and it's, I went ahead and pulled in some of these effects on what I think I might need or use. And this project is, once again, a very simple project. So color grading is going to be a lot different than you would in a film environment or a larger production where you've got to do a film look or a grade. You can, by the way, in here, there is apply LUT. So if you need to use a lookup table and just apply that LUT, you can do that here. But there is a lot for us to use here in the color grading pane, and I believe we can save the effect stack. So the group of effects that I've chosen and recall them, I had to choose the ones I thought I need. And there's a lot of options here for color and image correction, and I appreciate that. So I put what I would normally use, and on the left-hand side, you have your parade, you have your vector scope, and then you can deal with your histogram here. One thing of note that Davinci Resolve has that this does not have that I can see is there is a way to put a marker on your skin tone, kind of like a little pointer, and it will go ahead and show you on the vector scope what that looks like, which is really nice to be able to check your skin tone. And this little line right here, this line, if you're really close or on or over, that will let you know your skin tone, if it's a good color for skin tone. I think you're going to have to like rotoscope a section and then look at that color in your vector scope to be able to tell if your skin tone is good. That's not quick and easy. And when you're in a professional environment, that's not good. So that's a little knock for Kdenlive for professional work. But once again, we're doing a, very low production thing here. So we'll be able to make some corrections. I'm looking over here and it looks like the reds are a little hot and are clipping just a hair. So what I would want to do is to be able to go down here and to adjust that value on my number pad. I can go through, and if I hit the 8 on my number pad, and I can lower the reds. I can raise up the reds, just the lift and the gamma. That's nice. I can go ahead and raise the overall, and you can see over on the parade, you can see things lifting and lowering, and that's easy enough. And then you can see what you've done and what you've set up so far. Obviously, this is not a how-to color grade, but I've got that here. A couple of things that have been nice. I can quickly add a little bit of contrast here. It's this little slider, which is fine. Look, this is an extreme amount of contrast, so you can see what I'm talking about adding. You get response on the everywhere, which is nice, so you know something's happening. But if I want to add a little bit of contrast, I can add it here. I can adjust my exposure here, which is nice. And I like that they've given me this option. I don't like that essentially I have to keep things collapsed so that I can edit. Everything in Davinci Resolve is just laid out differently, and I'll show you that in a second. But what they did have that I was surprised is to be able to set up your curve. And so I can go ahead, set up a nice little S curve, and it's not fun to look at your face all the time, and set that up. And then I can go the whole effect stack. This is what it was. This is what it is. It still looks a little blown out, but the point is to show you what you can and cannot do. There you go. All right. So I like that part, but you have to really kind of build it. And I guess once you build it, you're done. In Davinci Resolve, you've got all of those things set up for you right here. You can see the similar tab layout, just in a different place, right? So you can see that, and that's nice. And here is the color tab, and things are just laid out perfectly. And you've got these nodes. I can sit there, add a node, color transform, set that up. If you're dealing with a bunch of raw footage or log footage, being able to transform it into the right color space is very important. And that is something I don't know how to do yet in Kdenlive, but obviously I do in Davinci Resolve. Here you can see what the color grade did. This is the footage that came in. This is what came out. Can you work with this? Absolutely. It is definitely something that you can do. And once again, I'm working with phone footage. It's something that's already been processed. If you get handed log footage, I'm sure there's a way to transform, but you're going to have to transform that footage in a I wouldn't say cumbersome way. It's not cumbersome. It's just not as quick and easy, giving you the feedback that you need quickly. But can I color grade my low production video? Yes, I can, and it will look just fine and dandy. Next, we would normally adjust our audio, and this is what you get when you're in the audio section. It will move over. Here is your effects on the left-hand side. And what I normally want to do is to quickly remove noise, set up a little limiter, and then maybe EQ some things in the voice. So I'm going to add in this noise suppression for voice. This is the effects for your color. Here is the effects for your audio. Right now I added a noise suppression. Let's listen to this space here. And then I'm going to turn this off and listen for the space. So it's working. So if you listen here, that's that. Then you turn this on, it's gone. Okay, so the noise suppressor works all right, and you've got some threshold and how long it will give some, they're calling it a grace period. Okay, volume and dynamics is down here. Okay, the layout is a little weird because all the effects for video and for audio is all together, but I've got this compressor here that I'm going to add, and then it's got a de-esser, which is nice. Looks like you can add, your EQ situation is you're adding a bass, and then you're adding your high pass, your low pass, and that's fine. You can choose a band and adjust it there, but that's a little cumbersome. The advantage is it looks like you can add in some plugins here, which will be very, very nice if you have some of these plugins to address that. I would love to see a graphic EQ to be able to make those adjustments and to make sure that things sounded great. If I go into Davinci Resolve and I go to the Fairlight tab, which is the audio tab, I have this mixer channel right here, and I can go ahead and adjust the dynamics, right? Yes. So this is, which is nice. I can go ahead and adjust the EQ right here. Make sure when you come, that works. And then they have some other voice isolation, dialogue leveling, and a bunch of other effects right here. The other thing that you have, which is super amazing, is you pull in this audio and you go to voice isolation, you hit amount, and then you're done. When it comes to noise reduction, it's just a little click. I like that. So when it comes to audio, at least with my understanding here, Davinci Resolve has a leg up on ease of use, but there is still all the tools you need here in Kdenlive. It's just you got to kind of build the stack and save it and be ready to go. I probably would find a plugin that would work with a graphic EQ to be able to make that easier for me to manage. But there it is. And then your main situation for editing is your edit tab. And this is going to be quite simple. If I want to add something here or cut something here, I'm guessing there is a cut tool. You just click where you want to cut. So you go through and you're playing and you want to clip that there. Let's check the keyboard shortcuts because that would be so much easier to be able to do. And they have these and you can adjust those, which is great. I'm looking for cut clip, Shift R. All right, that's cool. And then cut all clips. Control Shift R. So if you have a layer of clips over each other, you can clip it there. So let's do that. So right here, I'm going to put this back on the selection tool, and you just hit Shift R, and then it cuts right where it is. Great. Great. And then you can sit there and layer over. Yeah. MX Linux 023. Let me check it. Right. That sounds horrible, right? So it's there. I'm not happy too much with this yet. I need to figure out proxying this. I need to go to project settings, proxy, enable proxies. Okay, enable proxy, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to proxy clip this guy. It is being very choppy. We have proxied. I'm going to put it back to 1:1. So my playback speed isn't that great. Okay, I've got a lot of effects going on, and that's a little annoying. I can get playback to be much better. I'm sure it's something with me working with Kdenlive, but cutting and clipping seems to work just fine and as expected, which is nice. Creating a proxy is nice. The last piece is going to be your effects and how you want those effects to be used. Now, they are combining your color effects pane with your other effects. And by the way, they have the ability to download some new effects, which is nice because one of the problems that you're going to have using Kdenlive is you're not going to be able to go to a template-based website to have a template to start with to save yourself some time and go to, Elgato Elements or wherever to, have those templates for Davinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, and Final Cut Pro. But they have this here, and you can add some, all right, futuristic, and let's just download it, and let's see what happens here. But you're going to need to be able to add text. So now it's downloaded TX. I'm just going to type search TX. And there it is. And I'm going to add it in here. I'm going to put it right here. Now that's cool. But I think that's supposed to go on text, not there. Let's undo, shall we? Edit, undo. There we go. It's undone. So I had to look and see, how do you add text? I expected it to be over here, but it's not. So you can go and add a title clip. You can add your text. Hi, what's up? And then you can put it right there. And there it is. Horribly done. Horribly, horribly done. So it is not the most easy way to transform this hi, what's up. You kind of have to add a transform. If there's an easier way, let me know. But it is super easy in Davinci Resolve to add text. If I want to add text to this, it's quite easy. I go to my titles in my toolbox and I drag it over. And then I add the title, hi, what's up? And then I can quickly change the font and the size. And then go ahead and add shadow and then move it where it needs to be. And I can even add transitions very simply. That's the way it's done in Davinci Resolve. I'm sure that I'm a part of the problem here and not fully understanding Kdenlive and what it and how it works. And I've been working in Davinci Resolve for a long time, so finding things what I need to find. But you can add text. And I'm sure you picked the right font and you make it happen and everything will be fine. So if I want to change the font on this, I'm sure all I have to do is edit clip. And then I click on the clip and then I can change the font. And there you go. Here we go. Fire Sands extra bold. And I like that one and we'll make it bigger. And then update title. Walking through each part of my process, I can see that there are some challenges that Kdenlive has, but very small, and most of it's just setup and time-saving features. It was very nice to see. Most all of the tools that I would use is there. You just kind of had to set it up, organize it, and get it set the way you want, but then you could save it. Color grading, audio, the noise reduction worked better than I expected. So there is that. If you go beyond simple video editing, maybe some B-roll, maybe some text, talking head situation like this one, you can do it. If you have nice recorded video, you're going to be able to do it. I would be curious to see how well it is working with all different kinds of cameras and camera footage, to see how that would work for you as far as log footage and raw, and to make that work in your workflow. I wasn't getting the best performance out of it, and could be how I have it set up. I would need to learn. I tried to set up a proxy clip with it, and it was still kind of choppy for me, but we can put that on me. I'm not going to put that. I'm just looking at the features. Could I do what I could do? And most of it, I would say 85% there, you can do in Kdenlive. So if you're editing phone footage, or you're editing camera angle or two, and you're bringing it in with some other B-roll and you want to add some text and effects on top of it, you can do that. That's no problem. Color grade, audio, it's really right there, and you can use it. And I'm going to keep it on my machine so that I have a backup in case something happens to Davinci Resolve. Is this going to take me away from using Davinci Resolve? Absolutely not. There's way too many tools that are done and already set up for me quickly. Plus, I'm honestly very comfortable in that environment. But for a video like I'm making today, where I'm just recording it on OBS and cutting out some things and adding it, could you do it in Kdenlive? Yes, you can do it in Kdenlive, and it will work great. I just wanted to highlight and see if it's something that you could use, what you would use and what you might not use, and get a sense of Kdenlive. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let's continue to do and check out all these cool pieces of software, and I'll see you next time.